So our new date, location, sorry I didn't get the memo, but made it, so here we are. So it is 6:04. We call the meeting to order, so are you taking notes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Um,
He's,
do you know how to
is
use
that
it?
what it is? That's what's trying to get in there?
I usually will send you yeah, it's supposed to like, they'll take for you and then send you transcription.
Oh, cool. Feel free to let it in.
Yeah,
Maybe it'll send me something.
is that the AI note taker? Okay, great. Okay, so call to order 6:04, and I don't know if everyone had a chance to look at the minutes. We're a little behind. We're approving the minutes from December 2025 and February 2026. Which feels like years ago.
I would make a motion to approve.
Okay. Can I get a second?
I second,
Okay,
yes.
approve the minutes. All right. Public participation. We have Mr. Yoni, who's joining us via Zoom. I put you in the public participation so you didn't have to sit through the whole meeting.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
But you're up.
All right. Hi, I'm Yoni Glogauer. I'm the Director of Conservation and Sustainability. We are working on a big project for the city of Holyoke. It's called the MVP Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness 2.0 Planning Process. This is a big state grant program with climate resiliency funding. Holyoke's been successful getting a lot of these grants in the past for various projects. Stephanie got one for the community cookbook, for instance. And like a lot of communities, we're going through this revised. Oh, Claire, you came in person. Good. Claire's in our group. She can help me explain what we're doing because it's a little, yeah. And that's great. I'm recovering from a cold also, so I didn't want to get anyone ill.
That's why I have a mask on too.
But
Hope you're feeling better.
yeah. So when Holyoke first enrolled in this program in 2018, we did a version of this planning process. There was community engagement. They looked at key infrastructure and came up with some priorities. And what we're doing now is basically updating that process, but also adding in a much stronger emphasis on social resilience and other, other factors that often intertwine with climate change to put burdens on our community. So with that much broader scope, we've put together a group to lead the process. We have 6 city staff. We have 5 community liaisons. Claire's one of them. We have a planning vendor. We have an equity partner the state assigned us. We have a pretty cool crew. And what we're doing this month is we're going to as many community groups, organizations, functions, just having conversations with neighbors and just going through, we came up with some questionnaires, some like conversation starters, to really get a sense of what people are experiencing and like what are the key priorities for Holyoke. Climate change is very all-encompassing. But our goal at the end of this process is come up with an idea for a seed project. The state's going to give us an additional $50,000 to implement a project based on our findings. So we also have an eye to that step in the process too. So Claire, anything we should add or you can think of?
I missed the first part of your spiel, I'm sorry. But I do have the questions here, if anybody wants to take a look. And then at the end of the month, where there's gonna be a dinner. Right?
Yeah, so that's the other. Yeah, this is like the start of the conversation. Like we know you have a lot of agenda items. You might not want to have like detailed in-depth thing right now, but we're gonna have 2 dinners actually. The first dinner is gonna be at 1 Holyoke, the Flats Community Building, next week, Thursday, the 19th. And then we're also going to be doing a sort of workshop at the Holyoke Food and Equity Collective dinner at the end of the month that Claire has the flyer for.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So in the interest of time, what might be helpful is if we could make some copies of these so that y'all can have them as look at the sort of questions that we are gonna be trying to ask community members about. You know, I think that top one, that's just people signing thing. But, yeah, so they're all different actually. So we have the sections like ecosystems and infrastructure, community transportation. What we're trying to do is like literally just find out what people are worried about. And, you know, when we sort of collect all of that, we can identify what's the biggest thing, because it's not just about the impact of climate change, it's the areas of the city that would be more impacted than others, and what are they worried about now. Without that, when we think of the fires that just happened, right? That has to do with it, and like all of the fallout from that, flooding, all of that. And so when we just ask people about transportation, what are the things they're struggling with now? We can identify what could be exacerbated by some sort of climate emergency. So those questions sort of cover the whole gambit of things, and that's just what we're going to be asking the community. And if folks do participate and fill out questions, and we can offer them a Stop and Shop gift card. Yeah.
Joni, I'm curious, I know, well, thank you both for being here. It's really great to learn about this. So thanks for having us on your whistle stop tour. I'm curious, I know the city is endeavoring on a comprehensive plan, but then also separately, you know, we've been thinking about like bike infrastructure and pedestrian infrastructure. And obviously that's a big piece of dealing with climate change, is giving people ways to get around that don't involve cars. So just curious how like the MVP would kind of interact with those other plans that the city already has going on, and then just thinking about it from like our own perspective of promoting, you know, walking and biking as transportation, recreation, like et cetera.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't think I'd be answering questions. No, there is a lot of overlap in these different planning processes. We also just submitted a draft of our open space and recreation plan, where we tie in with the comprehensive plan and the idea that we need more walkable, connected access to these different parks and spaces. And even calling out examples in the city where we do have walkable parks that seem to get a lot more use and attention than others. And yeah, I think so. You probably saw from the sheets that Claire handed out, we have 7 or 8 like topic focused areas, one of which is like all about transportation and accessibility and infrastructure. And yeah, it's one of the things that makes the process kind of difficult. It can go in so many directions. Or like in prior engagement we've done with this, we've heard a lot about flooding in the flats in South Holyoke, and certain intersections become impossible. It's hard to even if you have a vehicle, it becomes impossible to access different parts of the city. So that's like an example where like the stormwater infrastructure and the transportation grid are intersecting in a difficult way that both need attention. And that's why I think we're also looking for solutions that can hit a lot of these, or at least several of these topic areas, not just with the seed project, but when we, you know, one of the reasons we're doing this is to maintain our eligibility for the MVP action grants, which is a much bigger source of funding. Yeah.
I'd just like to add to that too, that one of the more unique things about this process is that we don't know where it will go, where it will tie in. Because it's going to be completely based on the input you get from community members and the data we collected in the past. And that's going to direct where we decide the seed project is. Am I off base here, Johnny, or on base?
That's totally on base. We have a totally open mind. That's why I'm trying not to feel too much of my thoughts. I don't know.
Right, so it's a community driven process, which means that we don't have any open directive about how it will tie in or any expectation about how it will tie in, because we're going to be relying on feedback from our community members and from data collected in the past and data collected through this process. So it's kind of been a lot of other city and state initiatives in that respect is that it's not guided by an overarching expectation necessarily, except like that expectation is that it's going to be driven by community input.
So I have a question.
Yes.
How does how does something like this tie in with like the comprehensive plan exists that was also supposedly, community done with a lot of community input. So I understand that this is focused on climate concerns. As a bike ped committee, how do we like get our 2 cents in on like walkable spaces or suggesting anything, or I mean, I know that in the comprehensive plan, there were some maps of like what are already being considered areas that should be used more. So I guess I just wonder how it ties together and how the feedback from all these places is being incorporated.
Well, I should say that, one of the reasons that we came to you guys is because transportation and infrastructure. And when we think about ecosystems, we think about how everything's connecting together as a community, not necessarily to trees and all that, right? And two of these questionnaires, and mind you, you don't need to fill this all out comprehensively, you can give your 2 cents where you have 2 cents to give. But, the transportation and ecosystems and infrastructure piece in particular, we thought this committee would have a lot of insight on. And would have already community input on that, and so then we could use that sort of into inform the process. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you like me to say this to my?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, I mean, it's interesting. We were like creating this questionnaire and outreach, assuming we're going to have one-on-one conversations with people. But then we also want to go to Bike Ped Committee. We're going to go to the Disabilities Commission later in the month. So I think when we go to those bodies that have like a certain charge and jurisdiction, it's almost like a complementary form of engagement. We'd love to just hear like what, probably in your conversations, I know there's been talk about, I haven't been following it too closely, but I know you've been trying to get the city engineer more involved and like the DPW and working together with them. And I'm curious, like just big picture ideas and priorities that have come from recent meetings, like as a group here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I thought Matthew Skopov might join us today, but one thing we thought about is creating a designated bike route through the city, because if you're not really a biker or walker, you're a little intimidated by like where can you go. And so this is happening in other cities too, like kind of neighborhood greenways or like bike boulevards. And I think the mayor's really been starting to think a lot about it related to the tree streets. I proposed to Aaron Vega a while ago too that we could do like the flat stuff friendlies, and like it would basically be kind of roads that have a lot less traffic that really lend themselves to more people biking. And then if we had like some type of then complementary like online and hard paper maps, so people can say like I start out at like let's say the train station, and then I make my way like up towards Northampton Street via some streets that are like not super busy, and then is there infrastructure that then could be incorporated, maybe low-hanging fruit in some cases like paint, and higher hanging fruit, I guess, if it was like a protected bike lane. But that might also lend itself to having some other aspects of the MVP, like tree streets, or things like that could make it more hospitable to people who would be like walking or biking on that route. So that's just one thing that we've thought about.
Oh, awesome.
Any other questions or confusion? I love it, because that's the kind of feedback like that we wouldn't know in our meetings that folks are thinking about and working on. And
Yeah.
there's active community input on that,
So is this a document that has a link somewhere for people to fill out, or are they filling it out in person, like by hand?
Yeah. Usually we're just like talking with people, having a conversation, and we're actually filling out responses.
Yeah.
So, but if you if you read these and want to follow up or have the wherewithal to follow up by email or phone, we can do it that way too.
I just want to add too that this structure isn't really necessary. Like if you just want to write your thoughts down, you know, like knowing this process or like after hearing us and just like send it in the email or whatever, like that's okay too. You know, we formulated this, I think, just to add some structure to our process and talking to people and have some guidance, but we can also just take the feedback on them stuff too.
And where would people send this or email it?
Who doesn't have the?
That's a good question. I want to say
Where would-
Yoke, but I don't want him to get upset.
Can you repeat that? I can't hear super well.
Wait,
Where would people send their responses or email their responses?
How are you
Well-
collecting feedback? Like, if we fill this out after we leave here, where
Yeah.
should we send it?
You can send it to me. Do you have my email address?
yeah, it's why.
And in most cases, we're actually talking with people in person, so there's not like another step for that.
Can you
I
just
can
spell
put
your
my email
last?
address.
It's Y,
That's right, that's
so- oh, okay, yes, YGLOGOWER.
Yeah, so I have it in front of me. It's Glogower, GLOGOWERY@holyoke.org.
Yeah,
Right, and if we're just starting this, so this is like where we find the holes.
We're-
Like,
we're-
we
we're-
contact.
yeah.
Yoni, I was gonna mention one other thing just related to transportation and climate change is with the big storm event, which we know is climate related, like the huge amount of snow. I'm a walker in addition to biker, and there were several crosswalks in which it was not plowed, and I know a lot of people experience this where you actually had to walk out in the street. So just thinking about if we're gonna have more extreme weather events, whether it's like flooding or extreme snow, I think this ties into like the DPW and like what type of maintenance is the city doing so that, I just actually emailed the mayor and I was emailing with something else and I'm like, this crosswalk is totally snowed in, like how you can't even walk across. And I know he was doing a lot to try to make sure that the roads were cleared. But I feel like a lot of the clearing for the weather is geared towards auto and not towards bikers and walkers. So, and that's something that we're gonna see probably a lot more with climate change, extreme weather events, is things like that. So, I don't know, if you had a wheelchair and you got around, or if you didn't have a car at all and you were trying to get around during like really tough winters, I think it would be really tough.
Yeah, definitely. I know the C-Click fix was exploding with no complaints.
Oh, yeah, now it's like potholes. Oh my God, they're so
And
bad right
potholes.
now. I
Potholes
just
and
had to
snow.
get his car fixed because of a pothole. He literally just hit it.
Yeah, but if you walk around Holyoke, I'm sure other cities are probably like this too, but if you walk around Holyoke after a snowstorm, most of the people are walking in the street because it's the only place you can walk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Springfield's like that. Springfield has.
yeah.
I feel like it's
Providence
most
is like that
places,
too.
you know, and the
Yeah.
first 24 hours, especially before homeowners are required
Sure.
to shovel their driveways or their sidewalks, but even after that, like for all the people who don't bother, you just have people walking in the street everywhere.
Yeah,
I think another important conversation has to be made around the conditions in which the youth, if there's no camaraderie and sentiment of like, all right, you don't want to see us as human beings, the youth still, we don't cancel enough.
Yeah.
We don't clean the streets with sidewalks efficiently fast enough for our youth to be out at bus stops. So that I think needs to be another conversation, is that like, it's not just the folks who we don't have our wheelchair inclined, or folks who are walking, but like our youth are also, as a city, we do not clean our roads sometimes in accordance. So we need to make sure that our youth are also able to get back and forth, because if the bus can't make it, how can the youth make it across? Like,
Yeah.
in the last storm, a bus got stuck on our hill. And our youth were like late because they were all walking to each other's bus stop, because some bus stops were completely they couldn't stand.
yeah.
And think of like our little kids. I was seeing a bus stop in 6th grade, so like imagine how young they're out there.
I walked uphill both ways. I'm one of
Yeah.
those kids.
You know what I mean? Like in the south.
Yeah.
Then
So
I mean, yeah, sorry.
So like some type of infrastructure plan for bikes and peds around, extreme weather events or something like that.
Yeah,
Well, there's,
I've also, I'm sure this would be taboo in Holyoke because we like to complain about whose job it is to actually clean up the snow. And since we pay taxes, it's not our job clearly as residents. But I have read about communities where everybody has stepped up because it's a large snow event and realized that their DPW can't handle these kind of large events because they're only humans and they have the same amount of staff that they always have for the regular events.
Same amount of
Oh,
fun.
if we had
But I have like read about communities, in city blocks who like the people just get together and they help shovel all the snow into the street from the sidewalks and the plows can come through and whisk it away. Like you can help clean up your city quicker by complaining less and shoveling more. I'm just putting that out there.
I just think that the barrier that would be the health issues, we also do have a big population of people who can't shoot each other.
Yeah, well, then they won't be out shoveling, but there's a lot of people who can't and they should be.
or people actually come over.
Yeah.
We don't have one, but our neighbor will come over and use it to help us.
I have a problem with that. I've been shoveling that property for about 30 years now. No exaggeration, 30 years. I wait the 24 hours.
Yeah.
I don't care no more. I shoveled it. 12 hours, 24 hours later, all that snow that's in the street is on the sidewalk. It
Oh,
don't
yeah.
work.
Yeah. I'm not
Yeah.
even that blows about
And
the
it's like, no.
monster.
And I get it from both ends. The tenants, they look at me, oh, you're not doing your job. I don't care. Call the landlord. The landlord don't argue with me. Who am I gonna argue with? DPW? That's crazy. Walking in the street, that's the norm because the cops won't even tell you nothing. They'll just drive around you. And you got like a line of people
Just really.
walking in the street.
Yeah.
There's no other choice.
Yeah.
It's a 911 and who can we blame?
Well, this is
DPW.
exactly the sort of thing we need on these sheets. So we're not looking for solution, but we are looking for complaints.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so all those Holyokeers, we are actually looking for what's bothering you about getting around, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's not a solution. We're not looking for solution. We're looking for the problem.
You go to Home Depot, you sell $15, $20 worth of salt on your
Yeah.
property. DPW will throw it right on top, so now you gotta go back to Home Depot, throw another $25 of salt again in the past 24 hours. When my whole crop will take 2 gallons of salt. My whole crop, 2 gallons of salt. So that means a bag of salt should last me 2 or 3 snowfalls. I don't care how big the snowballs are, but you don't know when they're coming around because they'll come over, they'll sweep the street, but then they'll come up like at 5 o'clock in the morning before these kids start walking to school, and you get that one guy that'll niche those extra 4 feet overnight and push everything to the sidewalk. Now the traffic in the street is clear, but now the sidewalk is even worse
Right.
than what Mother Nature dumped. Mother Nature dumped a foot, now we got 2 feet, solid ice
Yeah.
on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the city to give me a complaint or a fine. So I could take a picture, if they don't like me, I go up there. We don't take a fine, I tell the landlord, don't pay for it, I got you, and I go up there in person and they got my number. I got my speed down. Yeah, it's just normal. Yeah.
Well, anything else you need for Claire?
No, so just from that conversation, I got some good thoughts. I got the designated bike route through the city dream with bike boulevards, flats to friendlies, other infrastructure that can be integrated with that, tree streets, making a more hospitable community. A lot about snow, crosswalks that aren't plowed. We're gonna have more extreme weather events. Conversations with PW, the general sense that snow removal is definitely geared towards automobiles and pedestrians, people in wheelchairs, or youth who also struggle to get to school in heavy weather events. then some unconventional solutions that Coco mentioned that we could look at. With like more community driven snow removal. But then, yeah. So that pretty much.
Anything else?
Oh, I feel like we've derailed your agenda a little bit.
No, no,
Yeah,
it's
sorry.
okay.
To email later if something comes
Yeah,
up.
seriously, email us, come to the dinners and we can talk more. We're trying to keep this. Sometimes like when there's surveys and like activities, it feels very prescribed and rigid. We're trying to do this a little more freewheeling.
Thanks for joining us and letting us know about this.
I love all that.
And like, and you know, if we can, as things keep rolling with like community field and all that other stuff, or like, you know, we should take a peek. Maybe we can talk with you at some point later about the open space plan and where there's opportunities to make the infrastructure better for bikers and walkers to access the public lands. Because I know we did a brochure a while ago that had a lot of the places where you could go, and like bus routes and things like that to get to like Ashley Reservoir, I don't know, other places probably that we don't even know about. So if there's ways that we can work together on improving people's ability to get to open space too, that would be great.
I also wanted to ask because Susan had this amazing idea, and I wanted to ask, is there any plan to take over this bridge area and turn it into a permanent pedestrian space on Appleton?
Which one?
Oh,
Any
Spring
bridge that's
Street?
closed? Appleton,
Appleton, that bridge.
Isn't that in the
it's closed
Literally.
to vehicles, yeah.
Yeah, I was walking through there on my way over here for.
It would be a great addition to Heritage Park.
Would be.
Yeah.
Really big.
Just
Oh,
put
and
that on the
yesterday I
radar.
saw the first concepts for the City Hall parking deck demolition.
Hmm.
We're gonna turn that into a little park.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, so that'll also be interacting with Heritage State Park.
Wow.
And then you can tie it all in with the canals
I feel it.
and actually have a canal walk that people were interested in walking.
Your canal walk had information on our canal.
It'll also be
Some
nice.
plaques about the animals.
And please not be plastic. That's crazy. I don't know what they need to be, but they can't be plastic. They're plastic. I know, I walk my dogs all the time, we read them. They're lovely. It's a lovely thing, but they're all plastic. It's like.
Mm.
So that parking is done.
Yeah, it's gonna be gone, right? That's what you're saying, Yogi? The parking deck right behind City Hall.
Yeah,
Do people know?
yeah, it'll be,
Is it gonna be
It'll
just
have-
eliminated?
there'll be some parking. So like there'll still be handicap spots and deliveries. But yeah, the rest of it's going away.
So it's the three-story one, right? The big one?
No, this is the one right behind City
Oh,
Hall.
Like the one right behind it,
Or is it that one?
No,
No,
not
no.
this
the one that looks like,
The back entrance of City Hall.
the
You know,
one
there's
that's
a
like
park.
utterly crumbling behind City
Yeah,
Hall.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. That's.
It looks like Mordor.
I'm surprised that
Yeah,
hasn't.
it's terrible.
been-
Whoa.
What's the timing of that?
I don't know.
Okay, fair.
I was just invited to look at some concepts. I wasn't the. But yeah, if Matt Sokop comes to your next meeting, he'll probably have an update.
Are there, a question, are there trails for young people? Like, is there a map for trails that are like young people friendly? I just know that during the summertime, they do like to ride their bikes, but
Yeah,
I wouldn't recommend, I mean, they also like tend to ride their bikes during non-bike paths or like the res, or I know we take a lot of times, we used to
Yeah.
ride our bikes to, what's it called? I only know it because of the train tracks. Oh my God. So we used to throw
Like
ourselves
the
off the
Lyman
rocks. We used to throw ourselves into the water. We're not supposed to go. Oh my God.
Point Park, or no.
Jones Point Park.
Jones Point, yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. Yeah, but I was saying that
I
like,
know those rocks.
I'm just saying that like, I wonder, like, I love the idea of having more bike paths, but just like, are there any like youth-friendly bike paths? Like, I have a 2-year-old, a
Yeah.
bike path for someone who's like trekking. It's not the same for like a bike path for me, like a 2-year-old. Like, how can I incorporate that?
I started in being a member here and I went to city council meeting one time that was like proof, whatever, about 15, 20 years ago, when I first started in YMCA, we needed a bike park, like a real bike park, none of this, makeshift bike park, cement, concrete. And I even petitioned right there, right across the street from the computer center there, where they built a parking lot for a block and a half, a building a block, about a block away. And that whole block could have been a nice bike park, because they weren't doing nothing with it for years.
Even the skate park, we've had a couple of those.
You can't go to the skate
Well,
park.
there is.
There is, but it's just, depending on what
It's
side of the city you live too.
again,
What it looks like now.
you cannot ride your bike there, it's too small. They even got a sign, no
You can't
bikes
ride
allowed,
bikes there, yeah, no, no.
It's
We had-
too little.
We had a couple.
it's a skate park.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what's happening at, Community Field and Anniversary Park? Cause there's gonna be an accessible trail up there, right?
That'd be nice.
Yeah, we built the accessible trail at Anniversary Hill Park, and we're gonna fix up Scott Tower this summer, and that'll kind of be integrated with it.
Yeah.
I don't, oh, community, yeah,
It's basically, it's like right on 91. It's crazy. It used to be like a huge community space, and then the freeway went through it and divided it. And so when you're on 91 by 202,
By community fields?
yeah, that's it. That's Anniversary Park. So
Yeah.
like if you're a community field, then you go up. I got to my last job, I got to walk with Yoni up and this looking at that because the city got money from the Land and Water Conservation Fund. So it's like these
Yeah.
old CCC walls and
Yeah,
paths
no,
and stuff.
I walk. my
yeah,
dog-
it's really cool.
Yeah, so they're gonna be redoing Scott Tower and then you already did build or it's in the phase of being built as an accessible trail up there?
Oh, the trail's
All of
there.
it. The trail's
Yeah.
there. Yeah,
We're gonna do some more touch-ups this summer, though. There's a few areas where if you were in a wheelchair, it might be hard to get over.
Yeah.
So we're gonna address those this summer.
Other place, Whiting,
yeah.
isn't that a bike trail?
Main Street Reservoir.
I don't think you can really ride your bike there. You can definitely walk around
Part of
it.
it or-
You can ride bikes.
Part
Bikes
of it.
are allowed. Yeah.
I've never ridden my bike there, so I
There
didn't say.
there is a trail for bike.
No dogs and no fishing.
It's not regulated.
I don't know why you ride your bike.
No dogs, but it, the golf course
Yeah.
goes right to the waters.
I saw people ice climbing out there this winter too. On that Whiting Street. And it's also, that's right where the New England National Scenic Trail goes. too.
It's absolutely beautiful. It is rather an oxymoron that there's a golf course, but you can't bring dogs.
Yeah.
Just saying.
That's
Well, the
insightful.
runoff, and they're there, and they're like not nice. I mean, they'll find you.
Yeah.
They're pretty aggressive about it, but the chemicals from Oxford.
Like you a lot.
It's a little bit of an issue.
People who golf and people who have dogs are not always in the same, esteem of people.
That's true.
Or, financial.
If we have more to share with you, we can email it to you once we read through these questions.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
got some initial feedback and hopefully some of us can make it to one of your events, so cool.
Yeah. Thank you so much. This is great conversation.
Exciting.
Hey, guys.
Thank you.
I haven't eaten, so.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Thanks, Jenny.
Bye.
Bye, thanks, Erin.
Nice seeing you. Yeah, in person.
I know.
Weird.
I was like, oh, tonight.
Listen, these chairs.
I'll see you on Saturday. Are you going to see chair? You're not going to that?
Seating
You be cheering.
Seat swap.
I know, I wanted to.
All right.
But check.
March. No, my kid's birthday party's on Saturday.
Never mind.
Yeah, they're turning 15. It's a whole
It's a
thing.
big deal.
It's a whole thing. I gotta lay down the law, like, with the incentives and a joke. You don't joke about that in my house, I don't care what else you joke about, the teenagers have to joke about. That's what I'm doing Saturday, but if I can get breakaway, I will.
Okay.
But just in case anybody decides to go to one of these meetings, and by any chance you're gonna build the bike park, we need one here in downtown.
Mhm.
Because, I volunteered to fix their bikes when they break down,
Oh, cool.
just to make sure that they're actually on their two wheels. And they grind all over City Hall property. I don't care not one little bit, because they're not in the corner or in the ghetto doing what they're not supposed to be doing.
Yeah,
They're on
it's not a
two wheels
trouble. Yeah.
and they're grinding. That's why all that whole cement there, the granite, that's why it's all cupped up.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's all, it's, once they grind, you see the scuff marks all over. But they're not doing damage to City Hall. They're doing damage to the additions to City Hall. That used to be a street. They closed it down. Now it's in between the Onyx and City Hall. So they're not doing damage to that. And if they do a lot of damage, okay. The city's got money. They'll just take that slab out, put a new slab in. And the kids will just grow up, have more kids, and then their kids are grinding. But they're not
They're not getting
they're
into
not in the
trouble.
corner. And I was in the corner.
Yeah.
I'm one of them. I was born in the ghetto in the Flats project. Still in the ghetto, raised in the ghetto. So I know, keep them out of trouble. Hey, you got a flat. You got a new tube? Yeah, I'll fix it. Your chain is out, give me. And I carry my tools with me. And I just go there, just hang out. It just reminds me, reminiscing of when I was a kid.
I wonder, that makes me pop to the idea of like, if bike parks could be self-sustaining, and we could be able to have a lot of money to be able to even have one staff, like we'd be able to have like kits for them to repair, say like rental kits for bike repairs.
Yeah.
And bike repair, bike kits. How can we talk about collaborating with the bike shop about maybe offering a discounted price for folks who work with bike head, do a workshop about how to ride a bike, how to tune your bike, how to realign your bike. How can we create that fundamental line of education and pass it down for folks like me? I would love to make the joke that I didn't have a dad teach me how to ride a bike, but I mean it. So having more of my youth who do not know how to ride a bike, or only know how to ride a bike from survival, from the need to get from point A to point B, so we never learn how to fine tune or take care of it. Right. So how can bike head, and that'll create support, and that's more funding, you guys can start to apply for grants.
And what about the pool? There should be a way to be,
I don't know shit about the pool.
I do, so.
I'm sorry, my bad.
I'm so
I said, they should incorporate learning how to ride a bike in gym class.
Because people use
Not enough
that
bikes.
pool all
It's
the
in
time.
There's not enough bikes.
I think we need
Oh,
a
it's
whole
fine.
topic on.
You only need, okay, if you got 20 students,
Last year, or not, you're bigger than that.
Yeah.
Like hub
then you gotta
events,
share.
repairs.
And it's
like,
not even
Yeah,
expensive.
three bikes, all the kinds of
Let's
things.
agenda item.
we used to have,
There's
the
a way, there's a way.
Safe Routes to School folks join us, and I actually wanna reach back out, and I don't know if Now It's in Motion is working with them. It used to be, maybe you can ask Stephanie, but it used to be Tori, and then she left. And then there's a new person, they came to one meeting. But basically, they help do these bike radios, and we did do one that unfortunately wasn't at the best location. It was at Armory Yard, and we were talking about how it would be better to do it in coordination with like the Y or like Girls Club or something like that. But my Mass Bike, the statewide coalition, they actually have folks that are trained to do these bike rodeos. And the fun thing is like they teach you about kind of rules of the road, and then like they raffle off stuff and things like that. So, we could think about doing something like that in the future. It just would have to be, it wasn't very well attended, and also I don't think it was in the best location. So we partnered with like another organization that had a lot of youth. And then the other thing is you have to make sure kids have bikes, but they also have helmets, because Safe Routes to School requires you to have helmets. So we had talked in the past about potential grant opportunities, maybe even working with like drop in, the people who are running the Valley Bike now. And they brought helmets for us when we did our mayoral bike ride last year, because that's like a liability issue to not have people riding with helmets on. So there are some opportunities like that we have tried in the past. And I was thinking about the Safe Routes to School folks recently about trying to re-engage them with the committee, because they do other stuff like the walking school buses that like help, you know, kids get to school safely as groups. There's other communities that do biking school buses, so they all bike together. So it's kind of fallen off the radar of like attending our meetings, but for a long time they did. And they also kind of like Mass in Motion get funding. Their funding comes from the Department of Transportation. I think it flows through like MassDOT. So
Okay.
anyway, something to think about as far as, and I know this is something that Mass Bike and other folks think about too, is like making sure that people kind of know the rules of the road. And so it's how to ride your bike, but then it's also knowing your rights as a biker, you know, because a couple of years ago they passed the act to reduce traffic fatalities, but then protects vulnerable road users, which are walkers, bikers, you know, people doing construction, so that, you know, cars have to give you a 4-foot width if you're a walker or a biker. And that's like part of the law now. I don't know how it would be enforced, except for maybe, let's say there's an accident and you can say the car was like driving right up next to me, didn't give me like a 4-foot of space. But it's like knowing your rights as a cyclist or a walker too, relative to cars and vice versa, so.
It's legal to use the whole lane. As a bicyclist, you got 4 feet, but by law, you can use the whole thing.
Yeah, you
You
can,
can go right smack in the middle of the lane,
yeah, you can.
and you can have like 20 cars behind you, beeping the horn.
I've seen.
You could go right smack in the middle, especially if it's unsafe,
And
because you
absolutely,
get people that open up their door
yeah.
and then you ram your bike into it.
You serious?
Oh,
I
yeah.
did that once in
I
Boston.
have
I
that
was
every time.
opening my door to get out. There was a bicyclist and
Yeah,
I flipped her. It was, she was fine, but I was horrified, like,
Oh, and it's the car's fault.
Yeah, it has.
Works.
well, they
It's
do
the
have
person
something in
opening
New York
the door.
City, I don't know if they have it, but I don't think they have it in Massachusetts, but it's called the Dutch Reach, actually. So like, if you are a driver and you're going to get out of your car, you have to actually open your door with this hand. So then it forces
you
you
can
to look to the side. So then like, there was a cyclist who was from the kind of the River Valley who lived in Manhattan. And she got killed by someone who doored her, and they actually, you know, were able to, you know, well, obviously they killed her not on purpose, but they were able to enforce that Dutch reach because the person didn't actually do, you know, the kind of hand move you have to do to like open your door. There's like definitely stuff that can be done, so.
Almost definitely. I think this all makes sense. I also think that a great place to start too is that there's no lighting for when folks are. A lot of our youth are riding bikes at night too.
Yeah,
There's not a lot of lighting. I know youth who ride their bikes from Bridge South. Back South Hadley, right? She did get.
yeah.
Literally, I've seen them ride their bikes from South Hadley Theater or something.
We've done a lights brigade in the
You're trying
past
to get
where
the
you give out
lights,
your
but-
lights. We have like, I have a whole bunch of free lights in my basement that I got from Mass Bike that we could like give out. So like, we've done lights brigades before. So if you.
And
I
we
think
did just nighttime rides.
the key is like making sure that the lights are given out at a place where people are going to be riding. So like, if you had ideas, for instance, of like where there's a lot of youth that are riding, like we could do a table or whatever. And we could give out the lights, they're free. It's like a little white one in the front and a little red one in the back. We also have like those little kind of things that like you can go like that and they can be on your wrist, like reflector things or like for your, you know.
just see
Angles
lights on
and stuff.
Appleton Street all
Yeah.
the time.
What about
At
this kind
night.
of like packages, like care packages, for having them at safe locations with safe partners that we feel like are accessible locations. Alante has a bike, they need ride. It could be a safe location, but on the bike. Access to the bike.
Yeah.
We did that with the office at Public High School in Dean's Eye. Now when kids are on their way out, it's a. Whether in the after time, some going down a little bit later, needs on the light, just trying to work on my home.
Yeah.
Kind of like, love to work on my locations that would be supported. I don't know, I'm all,
Sounds like that works with the mapping in general.
the matter
Yeah.
is, yeah.
Yeah,
Same thing with the know your rights, if we can get more handouts, maybe accessible documents that folks can use. I'm happy to help laminate, we can laminate them and have them be like pocket accessible for riders.
yeah, we did this with,
Yeah.
I'm
to the
gonna
bikes.
put these notes under update on bike ped projects, because we're going all over the place now,
Yeah,
we need to kind of stay on the
You're
agenda.
taking real time notes for you.
Yeah, we have an agenda though, so we have to stick to that for a bit. That's okay. I'm just trying.
All right.
We'll move on.
Yeah,
Update on bike.
because I mean, they're really good ideas, I just wanna put them somewhere.
I didn't know, I thought that was the agenda. I was like, they probably like when I walked out.
Here's the next item. We do.
Update on progress.
Yeah, so we had updates on projects from the DPW. I thought Matthew might be here, but I do want to talk to him at some point about the designated bike route. But the next agenda item I had was events, which is somewhat what we're talking about. So Mayoral Ride, which we do every May, so it'd be great to try to get that on the calendar, and if that's something you can help with from the OPED perspective. And then we talked about doing bike rides throughout the summer once a month, probably starting and ending at Armory Yards. And it would be great to, if we could like partner with other groups to help lead those, like we talked about the Y, or there's All Bodies on Bikes, there are some other folks. If people have ideas on that. I think we just talked about maybe getting the schedule for Armory Yards so that we can find out, like, you know, which, if we did it like one of the Mondays every month, or, you know, throughout the summer or something.
Would it start and end in Armory Yard?
Yeah,
Beautiful,
yeah,
beautiful.
especially because I used to do a lot of rides in Boston with the Boston Bike Party, and they always had like an end at a place where you could get food and beverages or something like that, so.
Does anybody know if the Armored Yard has, does the Armored Yard for food and stuff like that have to be like vendor wise, and they have to book in space ahead of time, it's not like they have someone up there, because I mean, like, I know that I've seen them, usually the white line is there,
Yeah,
but and the beat out on it, that's usually.
they have different restaurants that kind of run through there. Right?
Yeah, on Mondays specifically, when you've probably been there for events that were not necessarily the Mondays.
I was there for one.
Yeah,
And generally on Mondays, they have like 2 or 3 food trucks plus the White
Right.
Lion truck, so, but there's usually 2 or 3 food trucks from
The
areas.
smokehouse and the, yeah.
Well, they rotate, there's like a
Yeah,
Thai
yeah,
one, there's like
right.
some other place, that was pretty good with like salads and, I mean, they have a bunch of them, it just depends on who they
Sometimes
book for
dessert
which
ones,
days, yeah,
sometimes
there's
Usually a dessert one.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
There's a bunch of stuff that they book that goes
Yeah.
there. So Bodies on Bikes.
All Bodies on
why-
Bikes, yeah,
All Bodies on Bikes?
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
yep.
And we were talking about partnering with neighboring communities. And for the mapping, I like the idea of adding like places to have lights available, like,
Mhm.
you know, especially for early use, like Guante is obviously like a good place, and like I like the Dean Tech idea, you know, like where kids are actually getting on their bikes, like if we could, I don't know how we could access like a tabling or something, or if there's a good time of year to do that. Or if you just do it through like the Y and include it, I don't know, but I do think it's a really good idea.
If you guys need support with that, just let me know. I know Stephanie mentioned to me if I got it.
Great, yeah.
Maybe we can talk after the meeting about what that means.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, yeah.
That's because we have no idea what's.
Oh, no, I meant like with this, because then if you
Yeah.
with talking to Dean or anything, had a certain
Yeah.
conversation, I'm happy to get a
Right.
conversation with you.
Or we could even try to do like a lights brigade at like the beginning of the school
Oh,
year.
yeah.
After work, I mean, not after work, but after school, we could give out lights to kids who would be riding their bikes, and then they can like have them or something, because I think the challenge with the lights brigade has been like making sure you're in a place where people are riding their bikes, either for recreation or for commuting. And I've done it, like, I did it in Greenfield, Northampton, Springfield, Westfield, like, but you just have to get yourself in like a prime location. So if this is one where we wanted to make sure that you had lights for regular bikes, then, you know, we could specifically have like a table, we could have some other fun bike swag too, and we could just like give that stuff out. Joss Bike would love that.
Yeah, we
The pool in the summer, I'm telling you, everybody goes to the pool in the summer.
Yeah.
is the place to be.
Really?
Yes.
We would go other places if they were.
Yeah, we
It's,
go
it's like,
So shallow, I'm always like, how are we?
I was like,
It's when you're forced, you
it's such a pain in the.
It's a really nice pool, I mean, it's a nice.
But it's
location.
it's very prescribed,
Yeah,
like,
Yeah.
you can only go here if you're this, and this, you can only go here and that.
yeah, and there's the times
But
and stuff.
when it was really, really hot,
Yeah, it was
like,
we were
it's
there,
packed, absolutely packed.
I mean, we were there.
I think that the city within itself is pushing for a lot of parks, but these parks need to be inclusive to other experiences. I'm sorry. but
Yeah, we don't need just more green space.
I don't need it,
Yeah.
I don't need more swings, like we, like, think of Heritage, Heritage is huge. It's a beautiful, beautiful location. Why can our kids only get wet with like 3 little puddles of water? Like, literally.
My dogs love the water park.
I love it, it's a lot, but
go,
it's more like a water park for the animals, because I've taken my nieces there, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I should just took you inside the shower in our house.
There is another one in South Holyoke.
That's a really nice one in the Carlos Vega Park.
That's a really nice one, but what they don't talk to you about is that that's a hot spot for drugs. You only know that if you're in the hood.
Yeah,
You
yeah, I
don't know
mean,
that to be in the hood, nobody in the food, not from the hood go down there, that's why it's so nice, like, Heritage loves it there, that's the only one they go to, because Heritage just doesn't work. Usually it like works, but it's like super small.
and
It would be nice
they
to-
added these concrete, I don't know
The
what.
concrete jungle that Heritage is becoming, because Heritage does, I was a kid, Heritage was fun.
Yeah, I don't know.
Places, there was
Well,
always
and
shops.
it's like, and it's, I don't know what's going on, but
Even the museum it's where are the attractions, I used to be able to go in, like, I used to go to the museum in Heritage, a little area, you go in and walk in, oh my god, this is so cool. I don't,
it's.
What about water? So what about as part of like one of these rides, like water access, like a summer ride, if we're taking a bike ride when it's really warm out, it probably would make sense to like make a couple stops where you can like jump in a puddle of water or like rinse off your face, you
where
know?
can you get a water bottle?
Yeah,
I just feel like sometimes
Nowhere.
bike bed is really beautiful because it allows folks to also see that.
Where, I'm sorry?
I said bike bed is really beautiful, because it
Yeah.
also allows you to see the overlapping. This, where's my these meetings, I've learned that aggressive style of architecture that the city maneuvers itself with is a disservice to not just the homeless and the unhoused people, but also ourselves.
Yeah.
Water doesn't, we don't want chorritos because we don't want unhoused people bathing in them, as always the argument is, we don't want places for folks to sit because we don't want them sleeping in our areas, but
yeah.
the reality is that that's a part of collective care, is taking care of the unhoused folks and ourselves.
It's happening, I mean, it's happening anywhere. I mean, it's happening, and
Well, and it gets back, it's like, how do we do mapping? Like South Hadley, we got this idea of the mapping from South Hadley
How
because,
successful the vision is over there.
well, they're like, they actually have mapping through Google Maps that has
Is it
benches.
Springfield?
Is it Springfield? I thought it was South Hadley. that has
That's great.
benches on the map.
That's right,
So
South
you can
Hadley.
walk somewhere and you know exactly where there's a
Great design.
bench. Most likely under a tree on top of it
Yeah.
all, so that there's shade. And so, yeah, like
It's
how do
really
we?
important for aging populations.
So how do we incorporate things like that simultaneously while we're trying not to incorporate?
Like,
well, I mean,
I'm 25, I have hypertension, I can't, with my medication, I don't ride my bike, I don't walk too hard, I can't, if sunlight's too hard, I can't faint. We need that here.
and I don't think you can, I don't actually know that you can totally separate those issues, and I think Holyoke needs to fucking step it up, because there's a significant homeless population, and guess what? They get really hot,
Yeah,
and they're gonna go to benches and trees and water, because
People that people.
they're human beings, and you can't say, oh, you're on a bike, so you can sit here, you're on your feet with a shopping cart, so you can't.
right.
They need to deal with it, and that, the place right by City Hall, right over here,
That's why I bring
people hang out here all the time.
That's one of
It's
the
really-
few places
it's
that's
cool.
cool and you can have a
It's
seat. Yeah.
cool, and there's like some degree of privacy, and there's a little bit of green, I
There
would.
used to be a water fountain. Does our water fountain from City Hall work? Nope.
Well, I was just reading
It
that.
hasn't worked since I was like 12. I used to walk by there and my grandfather was a maintenance man. That's why I say these things, like the city needs to step it up and support him in terms of where's accessibility for y'all to sit, water, breaks. How we what if you overheat? Is there like even
I think-
anybody?
I have to say this, that's a lot of that is it's a good fight for your generation because it's like our generation and the one before mine that took all that stuff away on purpose. Like we're the ones who like shut that stuff down. So to see people wanting it back, I think is really, really important because I've always wanted it all back, but it's been disappearing fast, you know?
I used to play with that water. I remember when that
I'm
was
saying,
on.
right?
I
It
used
used
to
to
play
be,
with it.
I used to come by. That's what I'm
My
saying.
mom
There's
used
no
to knock me
way.
in the head, hey, stop playing with that.
My mom used to send me up here and just go fill my water bottle up.
Without the other,
Yeah.
you can't,
Where are kids filling up their water bottles?
other people here.
Where they go to the bodegas, you're complaining about all of our bodegas. Oh, we have the bodegas on High Street.
We'll type it up next
Well,
time.
what else is there supposed to be?
You know why they got sprinkler person?
Yeah.
Because the fire department got sick of me and my boys turning on every fire hydrant on the bike. Oh, yeah.
Well, there used to be happens in the Bronx, like it would have been a way.
Yeah, so I mean, what if somebody in the summer, where
Somewhere.
they were closed on the pool, okay, you can't sit at home.
Well, and pool is
Very far.
like, who lives near the
But it doesn't,
pool?
how can our kids make it, to- who's making it? to the pool?
Yeah, it's a very hot
Maybe it's the
cement
line.
block to.
Well, that's why I'm saying
There's
if
not
there
even
was like
shade
a.
in there.
We had 7, 8
Shade.
pools at one point.
No, there's
Eight
no
pools
shade.
down
No
there.
shade.
Like,
It was really-
All right. So we need to bring it back
Sorry.
to the agenda. It's
Yeah.
okay.
yeah.
This is kind of a wild meeting.
We're gonna start bringing printed agendas again.
I appreciate you all.
I have it on my
I
phone.
have it in front of me too, but yeah.
Next time I'll, if y'all share it, I can share it.
So that was events.
Yeah,
before,
honestly,
right?
it's, Stephanie posted the agenda.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on our official webpage and there's an agenda right there, so. So anyway, it would be great to get the mayoral ride on the calendar. I don't know, if there's something OPED can help with, I can also email Milka and just like figure out when that would happen. It tends to be, during like the bike to work weekend. So we can do that, like maybe end of May, just get it on the calendar, figure out. And then I think we could try to get serious about trying to figure out, who's gonna lead these monthly rides and what the dates are, because it'll be sure before you know it. The only other things I had on the agenda were an update on Valley Bike, which I know Phil, I thought was gonna be here tonight, but he like officially is the city, or not, yeah, person who sits for the city on the Valley Bike with like multiple municipality discussions, but
So we can table that. to the
we can
next
table
meeting.
that. But it did sound like they were gonna be adding 2 new Valley Bike stations in Yoke, one by the mall, and there was like another one
Yeah.
that they shared. So that's an update on that, and I guess the cities are all gonna have to contribute a little bit towards Valley Bike, which makes sense. The only other thing I had was website updates. I don't know if you have anything on that about.
The last website update I did was the last one that exists, so if you haven't looked at the Bike Ped
Looks
page in a
great.
while, I
Good
did
job.
add a picture and updated who's actually on the committee.
Which is a big step.
So just a couple improvements, and I added the calendar for the year of all the dates where we're meeting and the location. But I would like to get a picture of everybody to put on there and their preferred email address if you would, or your phone number if you wouldn't mind being contacted as a Bike Ped committee member. I think it's okay in case somebody wants to call somebody and say, hey, I want to get involved. Then they don't have to call OPED, to ask about Bike Ped meetings. I mean, the information's there. I think we want to use the website to encourage people, like, these are public meetings. Feel free to stop by, but I didn't know if we wanted to add any contact information or just leave it as it is. Because obviously if people call OPED, they're just gonna say, show up to a Bike Ped meeting, and that's also sufficient. So I didn't know how you feel
Yeah.
about that, if you feel about it at all.
I mean, I don't think I want my own personal email on there, but I think if there's like a generic, if there's like an OPED one or something.
I think right
we
now
should
it has
do.
the OPED, like, phone number and email for like info@OPED or something.
Yeah. Yeah,
So with, I left that as it is, but if anybody would like to add like a little bio or add their picture, we can do that. We would just need to like email, Kristen or myself the info and I'll get it put up there. And if there's anything we wanna add to the website, like as we have dates for events and flyers for events, I think those are the obvious things to put up. But if there's anything else that you guys think is like ped related, or if we wanna add like resources like hubs, maybe we wanna put a link to hubs on the site, you know, so people know if they wanna get more involved with biking and Holyoke, these are the kind of places that we're like collaborating with or something, so it's something to think about.
The map would be nice if the operation was complete.
Yeah, I think that's like our big mission is to figure that out,
yeah,
yeah. A couple ride maps, like the friendlies to the plastic friendlies, I think that's a really catchy, fun way to call it, you know?
right? Kind of evocative, people look at the flat chart, they know where Friendly's is, and it's across the city, so then you can end with ice cream.
Yeah, that'll be fun. But yeah, we can have a couple of those maps come up, you know, or like the tree streets maps, you know, and have the list of those, or, yeah, I don't know, we can,
That thing might be
Do a
something
lot.
y'all should do at the meetings, like maybe get a big map of Holyoke and begin there, like
Yeah,
highlighting.
that's-
Yeah, maybe I'll just email, since Matthew didn't come tonight, he had some ideas of what would be good streets too. So if we just kind of had a preliminary map and then we could like start
Yeah.
thinking about it. And one thing we're thinking about with the monthly bike runs is if we could do like a test run of like each one of the potential segments. And you could say like, oh, what does this feel like? I don't know, it seems like a low hanging fruit thing that would encourage people to ride through the city and then they could know, because I know when I first became a rider in the Boston area, I was like, I didn't know where to go until my friend was like, this is where you should go. And this is the quieter street you can go down. And there's like a place where you could, and we could add, to your point, like, is there a bodega here? You could get water, or is there something here, you know, where you could get, you know, something you need or whatever. So that, or like benches that you needed to stop, or, and there's stuff we can do. You're asking about kids, like, there's a lot of bike paths where they have like a stationary kind of thing with wrenches and like pump and like stuff like that. So those are things that we can also, if it was a place where we knew people were gonna be riding, we can make sure that people knew about amenities that are available. Also, if you need to use the bathroom, okay, well, here's a library, you can like use the bathroom here or whatever. So we can add that kind of stuff that would like encourage people. I mean, it wouldn't be a long ride, but if it was a hot day, maybe you want to make sure people knew like where you can fill up your water bottle or like something like that.
Because there's so much y'all can do too, though, you could do a grand opening for the ride. That could be saying.
Yeah, totally.
We rides it as a collective.
Right,
Along
well,
the
that's
way,
kind of
just
the
open your
idea.
doors.
That's kind of the idea, it's like mapping and having the monthly bike rides, that for each of the bike rides, we would do a new. Something that we're thinking about mapping, so we're kind of testing out these roads to see.
Good thing it.
Yeah. And the recommendation kind of comes from like the strategic, not the strategic plan, what's it called?
Comprehensive
The
plan?
comprehensive plan, there's something on there already. And then some of the input from Matt at the at DPW, so. And then, you know, there's things that you and Price had worked on too, you had some maps in mind, so, you know, there's like some stuff kind of that's been around that we just hasn't caught the momentum, so I think we were saying like this year we would do some bike rides, make sure to test some of these kind of existing maps and then kind of just make it official finally, you know? So we don't have to start from scratch, which is nice.
You got one of these, right? You need before.
Oh, yeah, you should, we put that together last
I
year.
picked it up on the way over here from CO.
Yeah, it's right out front of the open house, or was.
They got a whole bunch of them over there.
Beautiful. And look at Yoke on the trend.
But yeah, I think our biggest problem now
Oh,
is,
so this is.
oh yeah, plenty of suggestions if you got them.
Yeah.
Yes, right, really.
So it'd be nice to take sections of it, blow them up, and be like, this is this tree, this is this one room, and this is this other room. It's hard to see it this way. But it's a good,
And we were hoping to be able to put that online, so you could.
Have you thought about getting city councilors?
Okay, yep.
Maybe we
For
can,
30 years.
like,
Yep.
Does it happen to go from a working factory to a working enablement to do whatever you need to do?
Yeah, I think it could be a combination of like
Something in the
the
back.
information the city has, that like they know it's not a busy street, and also
there's
where.
been a lot of comprehensive information
Yeah.
already provided from community input. You know, so these are not just coming out of nowhere, they're coming from existing studies, yeah.
Most definitely, most definitely. I meant more like if we're doing, it'd be nice to take some of the weight off of all these dollars individuals and kind of putting it back into the hands of the community of like, this is what we're working on, having a conversation about it so that they also. I mean, the more bikes that are being used, the better, especially if it seems like we're getting them more over here from what you're saying, 2 locations.
Yeah.
It's just,
It also helps the city with funding, because if there are people riding or walking, then they can say like, hey, mascot, you know, this is like a really popular road that people bike or walk on. And so it gives them more folks to be able to like get the grant funding, you know, things like that. So I think it kind of opens up doors by creating more opportunities. I agree, by people using it, so. But they're not gonna use it if they don't know where to go, / if it doesn't seem safe to ride.
Right.
Which obviously can't guarantee it's safe, but if there's a lot less traffic, it's gonna be better.
it's evil. That's.
Yeah, that's a
I love it.
big,
Well,
big cloud right there.
yeah, this is beautiful. It's beautiful, we blow it up a little bit.
Yeah, and if it, you can get it online, which would be great.
I wonder if we can make it like virtual too, if we could be interactive with folks on the
Yeah.
community too, maybe next.
All it takes is time and money. It can all be done.
Or university.
Oh, yeah.
Cause like I used to work on a 200-mile trail outside the Boston area, and I always had the dream of having it be an interactive map. And then out of the blue, poof, some people from UMass Lowell were like, we want to work on this project with you. And I was like, yes. So they actually like developed this whole, like, this could be a cool project for some young people that are interested in, you know, doing stuff with Google Maps and online programming and stuff, but I could send it around because it's called the Bay Circuit Trail and Greenway. It's like this interactive map. And you can just like go on it, and then it's Google Map optimized, so you can just like use your phone to be able to like get to it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be the city, it could be, you know, a university or HCC or, you know, somewhere where folks want to do something like that.
We work already with the trail, I think environmental space stuff, we use all the HT trails, we have a trail system, so maybe aligning ourselves with the trail system.
Yeah, and then the New England National Scenic Trail goes through there too. That's actually a national park site,
Is it really?
Yeah. overseen by the national parks.
I also know HTC students would love an opportunity like that too, if you do work in the community, because usually they outsource this.
Yeah.
They outsource resources.
That is interesting.
So, yeah, I know, I definitely know it would be a great project for a student, and then it would be something that would actually be used, so, which I think would be cool, because you're not just like doing research, just you to do it, you're doing it to contribute to the community, so.
Yeah, we should definitely talk about that, and then talking to the professors too about giving them credit and.
Yeah.
Communities and saying that, like,
Totally.
we can outsource, if a student is interested in this type of work. HCC can outsource for y'all, and they can come work, like I work at our integration studio and Fast Motion. Well, I believe Fast Motion is different, but our integration studio, we outsource ourselves to work studies. Like what Mass Hire does,
Mhm.
we call it so.
Oh, yeah. And Mass Hire had, youth that were working on the New England National Scenic Trail, employed by the Appalachian Mountain Club. That's where I used to work.
Yes, Appalachian Mountain Club, they're amazing.
Yeah, I worked there for almost 20 years. Yeah,
When I was a career specialist, we were married as partners, especially there.
yeah. Cool. Small world. All right.
That's so tiny.
Tiny.
Yeah.
Next agenda item, playing the channel.
We're gonna play.
I was like, I thought we were gonna.
The only thing I had left was the email list, but Stephanie sent it around.
We sent an email list, but it only
It's
has
so
like
small.
12 people on it, so I'm wondering if there's any.
Other,
This might be something, that I wanted to respond to her, but I wanted to see if I was missing something.
I think that was just from maybe the last ride, but the one
That was the
before
first
that had
one.
way more people.
Yeah, so if she has, we're trying to draw up old email lists from people who've gone on rides, so if that's anything, and I can respond to Stephanie, but I wanted to see if maybe
Yeah,
I
'cause
was
there was-
missing a page or.
No, I think that was it. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is, and we were talking about, we have people fill out the waiver or, other forms
Yeah,
to
yes.
get raffle stuff. And anyway, so we had people's emails. These are all, there's,
Cause this was the second one with Josh, right, the
Third.
third one, and so
This
the
is the
first
third
one
one.
had a pretty good turnout, the second
We
one
had
had a
3
pretty, had a big turnout.
like 50 people.
And the last one had a lower
Like 20
turnout,
people.
but it wasn't like 12 people.
Yeah.
More than 12 people rode, so we're trying to figure out,
Like
Yeah, where
all
the
the
rest of the list
paperwork
is.
is, which has everybody's email on it.
Yeah.
So then we can like email them for at least upcoming rides.
oh, and let me just add, we wanted to include the, seasonal waiver to the website, if we wanted to.
Oh,
share
yeah.
that.
Right. So that's all I had for the agenda. All right. Anything else? I put new business just in case, so the catch-all, to make sure I'm following the
Oh,
rules,
that's new
even though I was told by
business.
Jeffrey that we don't have to have a specific agenda format.
I want to ask, is this just for like residents, like downtown? This question here, or is it for
I
like,
think they're using it to go to different entities and gather information that they're putting into a report. And if you wanna fill it out or gather information and send it to them, you're welcome to, but it's not like an official survey. Otherwise that's why I asked if they had like a link to just blast out to people. But this is more something that they're doing hands-on, and they're going to the Flats Community Center, talking to people, taking notes and putting that into their report. And then they're having that other dinner, and they're gonna put input from that into their report. So instead of having people fill it out individually, they're having conversations and they're taking notes and inputting it, which I
I
think
got
is
a lot of
nice.
ideas for that.
Yeah.
Anniversary park,
Mhm.
I used to hang here, I still hang here.
Yeah,
I
Yeah, we
don't
got one of
know
those
around
dinners.
here, though.
well, Yoni's the guy, he's been doing a lot of work up there.
I don't know how to drive there.
Really?
Yeah, there used to be a pool there, Chamorro.
Right.
There was a pool there, my parents used to go every weekend, and just go picking and grilling. The stands are still up.
Yeah, there, yep.
They got what, like 6 bridges, 7 bridges. There, I couldn't find one. But there's trails there, one going to Bolden, the other one going to Jarvis. Another one brings you to East Hampton Road. The trail, what is it,
New England National Scenic Trail.
yeah, that runs
That's
right
the only
through it.
trail I've ever been on.
It should.
You probably have been on it.
Been on the right side, but not the left side of it.
Yeah.
I've never gone on the left side where the like log cabin. I
Oh,
haven't done
yeah.
that.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I think I'd make a motion to adjourn so that we don't have to take notes on all this stuff we're talking
Oh,
about on the
totally.
side.
Yeah, okay, so the next meeting is on April 8th. It'll be here.
All right,
That's it.
Yeah.
So, motion to adjourn?
second.
Okay.
Good.
Got it.